This is the MBA Wire with Mateo Chang, episode 8. Next challenge. Sneeze with your eyes open.
Inspirational MBA talk with successful alumni to motivate you during your application run. We go behind the scenes of every story, talk business, and show you why it's worthwhile to never give up on your MBA dream. And now, here's your host with the most, Mateo Chang.
What's up, citizens of The Wire? Welcome back to yet another episode of the MBA Wire. Today, I am thrilled and ecstatic to have as our guest, Guilherme Thaw. Guilherme Thaw is a sales engineer, or was a sales engineer at Spring Mobile Solutions. He has a background in technology. He was born in the south of Brazil, in beautiful Santa Catarina. If you haven't been there, you need to go. But in general, Santa Catarina is a small town, and his move from a small town to São Paulo was a huge, huge change going into a big city. Guilherme, thank you so much for being here on this episode, on this podcast, and for helping us out. I've told our listeners a little bit about you, but why don't you add something to that?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to help, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people using this as motivation to apply for business school. So a little bit about what I do, maybe outside work and outside school. I just love basketball. I'm a basketball junkie. So this is a busy week and a busy month for me with the NBA playoffs and last week of classes and all those things going on.
Who do you root for?
I root for the Phoenix Suns. So it was a hard year.
Yes,
we almost made it.
Almost, yes. The Suns have been struggling for a while.
Yeah, and I was so excited to see them do well this year, and it was just a couple of games short, but maybe next year.
Nice. So who are you cheering for now then?
I am rooting for the San Antonio Spurs now. Basically because I have a fellow Brazilian from Santa Catarina playing there. So that's a big thing for me. Yeah, Thiago Splitter.
Splitter? You're friends with Splitter?
I wouldn't say friends.
Okay, so like a colleague, you know him then. You've seen him around down in Santa Catarina.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Go on.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I also really enjoy cycling, and I've been trying to go out as often as I can and enjoy the nice spring weather that we're finally having here in Hanover. So that's another big hobby for me.
Nice. So basketball and cycling.
Yeah,
I'm also a big basketball fan. I didn't know that about you. Right now, I'm rooting for the Spurs as well. I think they have a good chance this time. Plus, I don't like Miami Heat, so all you Miami Heat fans out there, I don't like Miami Heat. Great. Well, thanks for that introduction, Guilherme. And now, why don't we start off this interview with a motivational quote that you live by that has helped you?
So I don't really have a specific motivational quote, but I do believe that by being good to others and by helping others, good things will come back to you. And I think that gives me some liberty to actually reach out to people and ask for help. And I had a lot of people help me out on my application process for the MBA, and going through recruiting, I'm also doing that again. And in a way that has helped me is that just this week, a couple of my classmates sent me an email saying, "Hey, I heard about this job opportunity from someone I know. Can I introduce you to that person?" And I think just by building good relationships with people and being good to people, those opportunities will come back to you. So that's one thing that I try to follow and try to take advantage.
Wow. Yes, that is actually Very true. If you help people, that good that you've done to others will come back to you. And like Guilherme said, it's all about connecting with people, not being afraid to ask for help, knowing that anytime you are asked for help, you're there available for them. And good things happen. I mean, good things just come back, and that's great to know that in your recruiting process, which is also not an easy thing to handle while you're doing your MBA. There's a lot of uncertainties there. It's great to have a good network of friends who can come by and recommend you with, new job opportunities. That's fantastic. Have you chosen anything yet?
No, I'm still going through the process, and I'm still going through some interviews. But um, it's 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 an exciting time. It's a chance to take advantage of this whole network of classmates and opportunities that Tuck is bringing, and trying to figure out something that would be exciting.
Nice. That's great. Actually, we'll come back to that. I want to actually ask you about the whole recruitment thing a little bit later. But for now, I want to go back to the time before your MBA program. A lot of our listeners, they're candidates who are starting their application processes or, in the middle of it. And everybody hits walls and challenges, both emotionally and psychologically. For you, during your application process, you mentioned that you have had a lot of help. What was the hardest part of it, and how'd you deal with it?
Well, I think all the different moments and transitions were hard, and what I mean by that is, like, the first time I took a GMAT practice test, that was so hard. I was so disappointed with my score, and the recommendation is that you actually do that early, but I was postponing it, and I wanted to make sure I was a little bit more prepared, and then I went and didn't do as well as I could.
Yeah.
So that was a hard moment, and first application, and writing the essays. But I think the hardest moment for me was after the first time I had an actual interview on the application process was when I came here to Tuck.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are applying for Tuck, you have the option of scheduling an interview if you're visiting the school.
Nice.
So I took advantage of that, and I would actually recommend people to do that if they have the option of coming here. And so I came here. It was a great experience. Got to know the school, got to know the people around, but I really felt like I didn't do well on my interview. I felt like it was really bad. And then after my interview, I was just, still visiting the school, and I had lunch with the Brazilian students, and they were asking me, how did it go? And I wanted to say, yeah, it went well, but I didn't feel like I had done well.
Yeah.
And it's about a 2 hours drive from where I am in Hanover to Boston, where I was taking my flight. And those 2 hours were miserable. They were awful. So I was just, reminding and thinking through the interview, and I called my wife from the car, just saying, I finished the interview, and she was like, how it was, and I don't want to talk about it, but she was asking, so why didn't, what happened? I was like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So those 2 hours were miserable, and I actually just submitted my application because it was almost ready. I had the essays almost finished. They were almost completed. But if I was just beginning the process, I don't think I would have applied, and I would have missed the opportunity.
Yeah.
So that was a big struggle, that moment.
Those long 2 hours, the long walk home, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, this interview that you mentioned, this was before your application, then.
So when you take advantage of that process of scheduling your own interview, you have a Tuck. You have to take the interview before submitting the application. So it's it follows the same deadlines as the application round.
Okay. Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting because usually schools call the candidates after they've been, their application has been submitted and reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
so that would be the case at Tech if you are applying, but you didn't take advantage of scheduling the interview. So they would come back to you and would interview selected applicants.
Yeah. Nice.
But you can also do that before, not before application, I would say as part of submitting your application.
As a part of submitting your application process. Nice. I think that's a great advantage in the sense that, you can get, in a sense, ahead of everyone. Do you think you get brownie points for that, doing that? I mean, I don't know how Tuck works with in regards how much of that interview weighs on their application process, but
yeah, so it's hard to say. I think what admissions would say is that everyone has an equal chance. But I personally think it's an opportunity for the candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally think you get some extra points for visiting the school.
Yeah.
And then taking advantage of the interview. So it's just a way of showing interest to the school and showing that you are doing your research, but it's actually really good for you. It's a good opportunity for you to get to know the school and figure out if that's where you want to spend 2 years.
That's exactly right. That's right on. I tell all my students, you need to visit the school because the biggest question that everyone has is, what is this thing about fit? Nobody understands the whole fit and culture thing. And there's no way you can understand it unless you actually visit the school, spend time with the alumni, and it is a part of the process. If you're applying to a school, visit the school. That's a must. If you're applying to Tuck, try to visit the school and do the interview before, right?
That I would recommend that. I know it's a long trip, especially if you are an international. But if you can do that, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's an advantage for your application, and it's an advantage for you on your decision and your process of figuring out where you want to be.
True. Yep. True. So after this long walk home, how did it go then? You were so worried about this, interview that you did, you didn't do too well. What happened after that?
So I had my essays pretty much finished at that point. My interview was close to the end of the first round. I think we call it the November round here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just added some finishing touches to it. Just mentioned a few things that I had learned from my visit, and I added to my essays. And at that point, my application to Tech was pretty much finished. So, and then I decided to concentrate on new applications. I thought I blew on this one. I'm not getting into this one. Let's start working on the next applications. So I did that, and I worked on the next two applications. And a couple of months later, I received a phone call from Tech to announce and let me know that I was being accepted.
Yeah. How did you feel about that?
It was great. And I have been living in the U.S. since 2010, but I was in Brazil during that week or a couple of weeks, and I received an email from the admissions office saying, we tried to reach out to you, but we're not able to connect. Can you give us a call back? And I knew that was the day when they were going to announce the process. So I called them back, and they told me, congratulations, you've been, we would like to offer you admission. And by the way, if you allow us, we would like to offer you a partial scholarship. So I was like, wow, this is perfect.
That's amazing. That's nice.
That was a great feeling, and I was really, really happy when I received the news.
Yeah. So what I take away from that is that even if you do feel like you had a poor interview, or if you're unsure, good things can happen. Things can, the tide can turn. How long before your application did you start preparing for it?
So I think I started late. I'm trying to remember when exactly I started. So I had the opportunity to meet a few people. I think try to remember. Um, I think a year before the application, I just talked to a few people how their experience was.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
really only started my research process and studying for the GMAT and doing all those things for the application process
Mm-hmm.
the summer before the application in the US. So I started things around May and applied by the end of that year. So
Wow.
2012, and I
Yeah.
applied by the end of 2012. So it was definitely um, a lot less time than I wish I had.
Yeah. And you
But
applied on your own, right? You didn't go through any institutions or consulting offices.
true. So I applied on my own. I had help from my then fiance. She had done her MBA already, which
Oh,
was helpful. So it was
nice.
good to have someone at home that I could talk to about how the application process was.
Right. Did she do
Uh,
tuck as well?
no, she went to UNC.
Yeah, North Carolina. I love that school. Yeah, that's where I want to retire. Chapel Hill. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she went to Chapel Hill, and she helped me. She helped me a lot, but I ended up spending a lot of time doing research on my own on what's the application process like, what can you do to stand out as a candidate, how do you write an essay. So I had to learn all those things, and it's really hard to learn on your own, but it ended up working out for me.
Mm-hmm. What
Uh,
was the best resource for you during this research?
so I would say two things. One was definitely some connections that I had. I didn't know a lot of people that had done an MBA
Mm-hmm.
or were current students. I only knew actually one of them at each of the schools that I was applying to,
Mm-hmm.
but they were really helpful. So talking to someone that has gone through that experience is a very valuable resource.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been more proactive in reaching out to people that I don't know. So Tuck, for example, has if you look up the information on the different clubs that Tuck has,
Mm-hmm.
you can find the emails of the co-chairs of the Latin American club. So if you are from Brazil or from Mexico or Chile, maybe it's easier to start connecting with people that are from the same region as you are.
Oh.
And then when you feel more comfortable, start reaching out to people that share the same interests. So I should have reached out to the people that run the technology club at Tech, for instance.
Yeah. Wow. That's valuable, impactful information.
And people will help you if you reach out to them and say, I'm a prospective student. I'm trying to learn more about your school and about your experience. Would you have some time to talk to me on Skype or on the phone? People will help you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely worth reaching out. And and
Nice.
the and the other resource was just going online through some blogs,
Mm-hmm.
some specialized websites that focus on GMAT and application process, and also some blogs from consultants from consultants that specialize in MBA application.
Yes.
Those were valuable resources to me.
Nice. So one of the blogs, I don't know, have you checked out the gmatclub.com? Was
The
that one of
GMAT
them?
GMAT Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used gmatclub.com a lot and beat the
Yeah.
gmat.com. Those were two really valuable
Nice.
resources.
Yeah, I really like the gmatclub.com. I mean, I don't have any relations with them, but I visit their sites occasionally, and it's just a lot of information. And for people applying, to their MBAs this year or the next year, now you have another resource called thembawire.com. All right.
True.
Yeah. That's enough for my plugin. But how did you know Tuck was the right choice for you? I mean, it sounds like you applied first to Tuck, and that was the one that you wanted to go to. How did you know that was your school of choice?
Yeah, so Tuck was actually I applied to 2 schools on my first round for first rounds and 2 schools for the second round, and Tuck was on that second. I'm sorry, on the first round group.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that Tuck would be a really good fit for me when I visited the school. So what happened is that I knew someone that had graduated from Tuck. And he just put me in touch with people that were here when I was going to visit, and I just felt really like that people were welcoming at the school when I visited. So there were some things like I was watching a class, I was being part of a. So you have the opportunity of sitting in a classroom and going to a class. And I had some, let's call them strangers, reaching out to me and saying, "I know you're taking notes. You should write about that thing on your application," which was something that was happening on the class.
Oh.
So I that kind of being proactive and helping. And then I had so many people going out of their way to spend time with me and answering my questions and talking about their experiences when I was at Tuck. That I felt it would be a place where I would be happy to spend 2 years. I would really like to know all those 280 students that get in every year here. And I felt like it would be a network that I could leverage after I graduate, just because I felt that strong connection to the people, and I felt like they were so nice and so proactive in helping me during the time I spent here.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like your motivational quote. Just people who want to reach out and help you. I mean, I don't know as much about Tuck as I do other schools, so I do want to ask you a little bit more, but for now, it just sounds like it's, the community there, it just embraces newcomers. I mean, that's something that will definitely, it says more than a brochure, right?
That's true. And it is. And when I got here, I'm certain that it was not just something that they do when people are visiting. It's actually what the school lives by. It's maybe because we're a bit far away from cities and from bigger cities. But it's a very tight-knit community, and we spend a lot of time together, and we like to spend time together. So when classes end at night, people make plans to have dinner together and go out together, and we just spend a lot of time with each other because we enjoy that.
Yeah, it's like, you guys cultivate more of a friendship than it is a networking. It's more friendships and, and long-lasting friendships. I can feel.
That's definitely true. Yes.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit more about Tuck then. I mean, what's it like there? I've never visited Tuck. It's in my plans, but, I'd like to know more.
So Tuck has a smaller class size for top MBA programs. So we have about 280 students coming in every year. It's a beautiful campus. It's a gorgeous location. So it's right next to the Connecticut River. It's very green and beautiful during the spring. It's very cold during the winter, but there's a ton of skiing, and even I actually played hockey. I actually had a chance to play ice hockey, and
nice.
Most people do here. So there's tons of winter sports. It's beautiful during the fall. It's all full of colors during the fall foliage season.
Uh-huh.
But it's a very tight knit community because the school is set up in a way that you do a lot of activities with your study group on the first year. There is a ton of social activities that try to bring the whole community together. The academics is actually very challenging. It's very rigorous coursework.
Uh-huh.
Um, and there's a ton of leadership opportunities. So um, people can do a global consulting project. I was a fellow of the Center for Digital Strategy, so I had the opportunity to focus on technology and work on a research project. So there's a ton of opportunities for the different interests that each student has.
Wow. Sounds like a very robust offering for a school kind of out in the middle of, a small town. And it sounds very home-like, like homey feeling, right? Just kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah, and the fact that we are in this smaller town really gives us the opportunity to focus on the program, not only on classwork, but also on spending time with the classmates outside school, either in, uh, let me call it like more work related activities, like being part of a club,
mm,
uh, but also on social activities like going going skiing with your classmates or going to a party on the weekends that actually happen on campus.
nice. What clubs are you a part of?
I'm part, so I'm more heavily involved on the technology club
Uh-huh.
and on the Latin American club.
Uh-huh.
I've also took advantage on mostly on the first year on the marketing club that helped me preparing for some interviews. I was targeting some marketing roles at technology companies, and they were really helpful at preparing for interviews. I am a member of the triathlon club. So about a week ago, I went with about 30 classmates to a triathlon competition, which
Uh-huh.
was a lot of fun. And I was part of a relay team, and I did the biking part. Uh, I
Nice.
was I was part of the we call it tripod hockey club. So I
Uh-huh.
played ice hockey on the first year, being part of that club. So there's a ton of clubs, but those are the ones that I think I took the most advantage of.
Nice. Now, what kind of tips and advice would you give to students on like what they should expect the moment they're accepted? What would you suggest once they arrive?
Yeah. So one, I would say the first thing is there will be it's a big change to go from, especially if you are international, you're moving to another country, and then even for everyone, whether you live in the U.S. or you live in the same region where business school is, it's a big change. You go from doing from working from a work environment that you used to an academic environment where you have to do different things. So my first advice would be try to give yourself time to maybe move a little bit earlier, get settled in, get all your furniture assembled, everything that you bought from IKEA that you need to assemble yourself. Do that before classes start.
Yeah,
And
IKEA. Uh,
if you can try. So I don't know. I'm not so familiar with other schools, but Tuck has a few pre MBA programs.
okay.
So you can come in maybe 1 week or 2 weeks earlier and do like an outdoor trip where you'll be spending about a week hiking and camping with uh, with a bunch of classmates. So by the end of
Nice.
that trip, that you haven't really taking a shower and everybody smells funny, you end up getting to know very well that people.
You almost too well. Yeah.
Almost too well. And it helps to have that connection with a smaller group when you start meeting the whole class. So that's something that I would tell people to take advantage of if they can.
Nice. Now, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to, after visiting Tuck, that you felt like you wanted to meet all 280 classmates. Have you done that already? I know you're finishing up your second year now, and have you had the chance to meet everyone in your class?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I'm missing. Maybe I haven't met one or two of them.
But the majority then.
We got to know everybody. So we get to know. So the process is normally you get to know all your classmates, first you get to know everybody from your section. Then you start getting to know everybody on your first year, and pretty soon you start getting to know people from the second year as well. And by the time you're finishing getting to know the class that is graduating, you go for your summer, and then you come back, and there is another group of students coming from the first year. So here, I really do think that you get to know everybody or most people, and you really have a chance to spend time with everybody.
Nice. Now, I have a curiosity. Is there anything that you wish you had known before you arrived, but ended up having to figure out once you were there?
I believe it's something that I knew before getting here, but I didn't understand how important that was. But the thing is, having an idea of what you want to do for your summer internship, for your full-time career, and how you want to take advantage of the MBA program is very important. Because once you get here, it gets very busy very fast. So the orientation week sounds like something that, maybe orientation week, it's going to be very light and you're going to have a lot of free time. That's not true. That's not true. You are very busy during orientation week. I had and I give the example of assemble your furniture before classes start, because I had a classmate that was trying to assemble his furniture during orientation week, and it's hard. It's hard to find time.
Wow.
So especially in the beginning, you're very busy. Classes on the beginning are harder and they are more demanding. And recruiting starts really, really early. It starts 2 weeks after classes start. It's the time when companies start coming in for information sessions. So things happen really fast when you get here. So trying to figure out how you want to take advantage of the program, I think it's important.
Yeah, figure out how you want to take advantage and arrive early so you can get situated and acquainted with the surroundings and with the students. So
definitely. Yeah,
awesome, man. And touching on that subject of recruitment, tell me more about that. What is that process like?
So it has, I would say, 2 very different processes. So one of them is what we call the on-campus recruiting, in which it's a very structured process that has specific deadlines for everything. Like there's a deadline until a certain date, the company needs to do the company briefing. Then until a certain date, you need to send your application. You get to know by a certain date. Then you have interviews, and then they make an offer. And then there are rules for how long the offer letter needs to be valid for, so that you have time to make your decision based on everything that you're able to get or not. So it's a very structured process.
Yes.
And it's there are a few things that really help. So for instance, Tuck has a bidding process. So 50% of the interview slots are allocated by the company, and the other half is allocated by a bidding process.
Okay.
So the company that I went up doing my summer internship, Symantec, I was not invited for an interview. I actually had to bid for the points. So it gives everyone an opportunity just to go there and impress during the interview, even if you didn't have a really strong application. The off-campus process it requires you to be a lot more proactive. So you need to figure out a lot more. What are the companies that are recruiting? Try to find out different people that you can connect with and learn more about the company and the role. And then every company has a different timeline of when they are going to be inviting people for interviews, when they're going to be making offers. So it's a process that it's harder to manage. And then during that process, it becomes really important to take advantage of the alumni network of the school.
Yes.
So that is something that I have been using a lot. So whenever there is a job opportunity at a company that I'm interested on, the first thing that I do is, well, first I look on LinkedIn and see if I have a connection at that company. But then the second thing is I go on our internal website and I search for anybody that graduated from Tech and that is at that company, and I send an email to them, and they reply. They give me time and they talk about the company and the culture and how to get ready for an interview. So the alumni network is really valuable resource in that process.
Wow. And this is like even alumni from a different year. It doesn't even have to be your own year.
Well, definitely. I've had people that I had conversations with people that graduated in 2005, that graduated in 2013, that graduated in '84.
Wow.
So you can really take advantage of the network that the school has in order to get to know more about types of jobs that you're looking for.
Nice. And I'm really liking the availability and the willingness of people to help out. I mean, even just people from back in '84. That's what you said, right? '84.
Yeah.
I mean, just to an alum to want to continue helping out. That's great.
And the other thing that you can take advantage is that schools in general, we get a lot of visitors that are coming for a class visit, for example. So some of my classes, out of 10 weeks, we might receive 4 or maybe 5 visitors that are traveling and spending the whole day here at the school. And when they do that, they not only spend 1 hour and a half in a classroom, they have lunch with students, and they set up office hours, which is an opportunity for you to make an appointment and spend 15 minutes or 30 minutes on one-on-one with that person. So it's another really valuable resource that the school offers, and that you can take advantage to learn more about their careers, but also get advice on your career search and see if they have connections that can help you.
Wow. Nice. So you have a lot of resources that'll help you through the recruitment process then.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I hope you do well in your recruitment process.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you really excited about as far as your MBA experience? Like what have you fallen in love?
There were so many good memories, and this is, as we are recording this is my last week of classes, and it's definitely a bittersweet moment, because on one end it means that I am accomplishing something, and I'm graduating soon, but it also means that I'm going to be away from this incredible community. So I'm just excited to try to spend the next couple of weeks that I'm still on campus and spend more time with my classmates before it becomes harder to get everyone together.
Yeah.
So we not only have an orientation process when we come to Tuck, we also have this orientation process when we leave.
Okay, it's like the last farewell.
Yeah, so we for the next couple of weeks we have many activities planned, like from a pub crawl to a trip to that people are doing sailing to what they call Tuck Oscars, which is an event where they're going to give like prizes for different things that people did in the community. So I'm just really excited about this next few events, and I think they're going to be a lot of fun, and I think they are going to be a great last chance to have everyone around before we graduate.
Yeah, it sounds very excited. It sounds very exciting. I'm excited for you. No, because I mean, these kind of events and stuff, you just make so many friends. You strengthen many friendships, and it just kind of helps you close that chapter with a very big smile on your face, and it just adds to that experience. So I think, that's amazing. I'm literally sitting right here smiling, just thinking about all the fun you're gonna have.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. No. What's a typical day of an MBA student like?
I think so. I will actually talk about the day I had yesterday. I think that's a good reference of what a day would be like. So I had two classes in the morning. So I had an 8:30 class and a 10:15 class. For both of those classes, they were the last classes of the term. So at the end of the class, we filled in a survey with some comments on how the class was, on how much I learned on it, and we can use that information when deciding our electives on the next year. So we had that. Then I had lunch with the Center for Digital Strategies. So we have a group of fellows that are students, that are MBA students, and they do a research project. We do a research project on a topic of our interest. And yesterday was a day that everyone was presenting a summary of their projects to the next year fellows. So we had that during lunch, and it was really interesting to see the different areas that my classmates decided to do research and learn from their projects.
Wow. Just innovative ideas over lunch.
Yeah. So we had like one person look into her topic was navigating the sea of digital content. Another person was looking into personal analytics, so the different types of technologies that use information to provide something interesting for you as a person.
Wow.
So after lunch, I had to study for the classes that I had today. So I had to read a few cases and write a memo for them. I had a meeting with a group that I'm working on a project. So I'm on a class. I'm on a pricing class, and we have a pricing project due by the end of this week. So we're working to figure out what will be the next steps on our project. After that, I came back home, had a call with the recruiter for about 30 or 40 minutes, and then I went for a bike ride.
Nice.
To almost finish off the day. And by the end of the day, I had a dinner at my house. That was a reunion of everybody that had been on the Brazil learning expedition. So I went to Brazil with about 20 classmates on a learning expedition.
Nice.
And we had a dinner reunion at my place. So it was really good to connect with with them again, and just talk about some of these stories from the trip, and have a nice dinner and some fun.
Wow. Sounds like a full day.
It was, yeah, it was a full day. It was a full day. I think sometimes you have more classes or you have less classes, or
Mm-hmm.
there is more recruiting or more studying. But I actually think that's quite a typical day.
Yeah, on an average student day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned something that was pretty interesting that caught my attention, and I wanted to mention here. It was that yesterday you studied for classes that you're going to have today.
Uh-huh.
Now, I know as far as, in Brazil, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Brazil, you study in class and you don't study for a class, right? You show up at a class, you get the material and then you study at home. But it sounds like there in the United States or at Tuck, you have to study before you have that class.
That's true. So that's especially the case when we have a case-based class. So at Tuck, about 50% of the classes are case-based. So a class that I had today was a discussion around that I still have. It's a discussion around Zipcar, which is a car sharing company.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to read the case before to know the subject, to know what were the challenges that the company was facing. And the time that we're going to spend on class is actually discussing the case and going through what should have the company done, what were their alternatives, what would happen if they had not taken action. So I actually need to study before so that when I am on class, I'm able to participate and I'm able to engage into those class discussions. And that's how you actually learn on a case-based class.
Yes, yes. Wow, that's great. That's a great, it's a little bit of a culture shock, though, I think, with a lot of students who have told me, hey, I didn't know you had to study before class.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
nice. Well, I have a question here, and this is a quirky one. And our time is actually kind of coming to an end. So I want to ask you, if you had a time machine and you can go back to when you were applying, what would you have said to yourself? Or even during your MBA, if there was something you would have done differently, why would you change it?
So if I had a time machine, I would have told to myself that the people that are getting an MBA, they are real people. They're not superheroes, super professionals. They have Not all of them have a perfect resume of graduating from the number one school in the country, then going to work at a top consulting firm or a top investment bank, and then doing saving the world on their spare time and then going to
Right.
business school. So
Uh-huh.
not everyone has that profile. And when you actually start interacting with the students, you just realize that they're just people like you that work hard, that are proud of their achievements, and are willing to learn. So I would have given myself more credit if I had a time machine,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have believed more in me and in the process
Mm-hmm.
if I knew that.
Yes. Yes. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of students have that they have that mindset that everyone who's applying are superhumans and superheroes, but in reality, they're just like you and me, people who are willing to go the extra mile to learn, to reach new levels. And it's great. It's great that you say that. It's all about the application process. Actually has a lot to do with self confidence, and you need to believe in yourself throughout the entire process and during your MBA. I mean,
Yeah, and the only thing that would add to that is that the time and the effort that you put, I would say not only time, but the quality time and the quality effort. So the things that you do that are smart on your application process, they will help you. So you will get a better GMAT score if you spend quality time preparing for it.
Mm-hmm.
You do better on interviews if you spend quality time thinking about your story and practicing with someone. So on the application process, putting some effort actually really pays off and really helps you. And if you don't feel like you're on the right level now, if you keep working on it, you will improve. That's how the MBA application process is.
Yes, that's true. That's true. People start out their application process with absolutely little knowledge, and when they finish it, they know everything they need to know and can help others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. Well, Guilherme, we at the MBA Wire, we would like to thank you so much for making your time available, and we also appreciate your amazing stories. I can assure you that somewhere in the world, a candidate who was on the verge of giving up on his dream to pursue an MBA has just received a boost in his energy. Why don't you take a final moment to give a shout out to anyone you would like, or your school, your peers, your fellows, and also let our listeners know how they can reach you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So the first thing is I'm excited to contribute to this. I wish we have a lot more people applying to business school and a lot more people applying to tech. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. If you want to connect on LinkedIn, just make sure you let me know that you want to talk about the experience at Tech, and I'd be happy to help. And on the other side, I'm really thankful of the experience I had here, and that would not be possible without so much support that I had from my family, especially from my wife, that helped me on the application process and helped me with this huge transition. I don't think I would have been able to do this without her.
Thank you, wife.
And I'm so thankful for all the good memories that I had here with my classmates and professors and staff at Tech.
Nice. All right, man. Thank you very much. I'm not gonna really say goodbye to you because I get a feeling that we'll be talking again soon in the near future on this podcast. So for now, I'll probably just say see you later, right?
See you later. Yeah, I'm glad I joined this. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks a lot, Guilherme. And thanks, listeners. Well, stop by the website, send me your feedback and questions at www.thembawire.com. This is Mateo Chang signing off. Thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode of the MBA Wire.
Thanks for tuning into the MBA Wire. Would you like to know more? Visit us online at thembawire.com today and leave your questions and feedback. While you're there, sign up for an exclusive free audio series to help you strengthen your MBA interview. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the MBA Wire.
Like Thailand and other countries. Some Latins, some Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, all of the cultures.
All the cultures, okay.
And for instance, one thing that is interesting is the relationship with time.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to be on a meeting. When you're meeting with an American, you have to be on time.
There's no
discussion, and it will probably end on time too.
Okay. Yes.
With an Indian, you can get like 30 minutes late. It's gonna end up like 2 hours later. So and you have to deal with that. You have to know that when you're going to do a meeting with an American, you should be objective and just get it over with. When you're talking to a Latin person, to an Indian or something like that, it's going to be more talking, it's going to be more chatting about life, and then start doing things.
Okay. So there's some like small talk involved before getting down to business. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that whole, being late thing is actually kind of in line with Brazilians,
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah, so it's okay.
That's why I identify myself a lot with Indian.
Nice. Well, now, is there any way you can give our listeners some tips and advice on what they should expect the moment they're accepted? Like, okay, the students, you've gone through this long application process, and then you've done you've done the tests, you did the interview, and then you finally get accepted. What happens afterwards? I mean, a lot of students have no idea what goes on. Okay, they got accepted, yay, right? Total celebration. What's next?
That's always a major rush. It's one of the happiest moments of my life, actually. But right after that, I think once you settle, once you're again thinking about the future, thinking about things more clearly, one important thing to know is exactly what you wanna accomplish, what you wanna get for your future, where you wanna be after the MBA, and start to make decisions right now to take you there. For instance, what I mean by that, once you're here in the MBA, so many courses you can take, so many different clubs you can participate. And if you're not well prepared before coming, you might lose a few things in the start, at the beginning. So try to understand yourself before coming, I think, is a very good advice. Especially if you're taking a smaller program like I did, like a one year program in Europe, for instance, or something like that. Each term, each class is a class that you're actually deciding, taking this instead of taking other things. So you should know exactly why you're doing what you're doing.
Right. You want to take the most advantage of your time as possible, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. So like, what else? I mean, like, some students, foreign students, they're still at home, and then now it's like, okay, we got accepted. What do I do now? I'm sure there's like paperwork and, just hectic running around, right?
Yeah, man, a lot of paperwork. So you have to get visas. You have to send everything that the school asks you, and you have to get rid of all your furniture. When I came, I actually had just got married, so I have everything new, and I had to let go of everything. I actually put everything on a storage, which was a very good decision. Now when I come back, I can just get everything again.
Nice.
But there's a lot of work, and you have to decide when to leave your work. I think that's a good decision. I always try to be very open with my employer, and I think that's a good advice too, because so you can better work out. It's always best to leave a company in a good situation, leave a good impression than otherwise, right?
Yeah, no doubt. You don't want to you don't want to burn down any bridges.
Yeah, exactly. And once you're here in the United States, or I think other business school too, one of the things you learn, especially for Brazilians, is the power of networking. And for sure, like keeping the network, keeping the people you met in your previous work connected with you while you're in business school is a very important thing. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. So since you're in the you're there at Kellogg with your wife. I mean, are you guys living on campus, off campus? What's your housing situation?
Yeah, here in Kellogg, we don't have very on campus place. It's we actually have a place that is from the university, but it's located outside the campus. So I actually live theoretically off campus, but it's closer to the university.
Yeah, that helps as far as transportation and stuff, right?
I'm sorry?
That helps, like in the sense of transportation. I mean, like.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, Kellogg is located in Evanston, which is a very small city, and the university is near downtown. So, which is actually great because I don't have a car here, and I can do everything walking or biking, and which is good. What is good about a small city is that you actually can create a very strong community. All the students live nearby. If you want just to have a barbecue, it's easy to call, and people are in your place in like 30 minutes. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, barbecue, man. I'm there running. I'll get there running. Nice.
Yeah, man, after living in São Paulo, like being able to call people and people get to your place in 20 minutes, like amazing.
Yeah.
Never imagined it ever doing that.
That's true. Yeah, 'cause in São Paulo, if you want to do a barbecue, you got to, for those listeners out there who aren't from Brazil, you want to do a barbecue or get together, you have to call people almost, 5 or 6 hours in advance. And people
or days in advance.
Yeah, and people will still be late. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a different experience to get that in 20 minutes and just get it started. So, nice.
Yeah. Awesome. But this closed community, this space that we have here is actually very important for this collaborative culture that we have here. Because it's actually very easy to form teams, to be at other places of other people's houses. So it's a very nice environment.
Nice. So, I mean, we're here talking about this, environment and your experience. What are you really excited about as far as this MBA? I mean, let's compare it to some of your expectations when you were, when you had just arrived as a new student, and how has your experience changed over time?
Okay. Well, everyone says that the best part of an MBA is the multicultural experience, right?
Yes.
And honestly, before coming, I thought that was kind of overrated. But man, once you're here, it's clear one of the most important parts of the experience.
Which is?
It's trying. First of all, this is a place of everybody tries to be leaders. Everybody, have a good experience in business. So trying to form groups, trying to lead groups, just with this in this setting would be difficult. Yeah. When you form groups with people that you have one that is Latin American and the other one is Indian, the other is Chinese, the other one is American, it's even more difficult, because it's the way you form, the way you express what you mean, the way you express yourself, the way you tell people what you want to reach. It's so different from one culture to another. So I think that it's a major learning. Besides that, I was amazed by the number of student clubs that we have here in Kellogg. I knew that before coming, but the power of clubs when you get here is amazing. They do everything, we have from tennis clubs or theater clubs or drinking clubs to conference clubs to consulting clubs. We have everything, and everything is student run. So I think one thing that I learned a lot here especially I think by the American culture, is how to be proactive. Mm-hmm. People here, and I think this is all in any MBA. People is really, really proactive.
Yeah.
We lead clubs. We do conferences. We do travels. We just do everything. And that's an experience that I didn't have in my undergraduation, and it's been very good.
Well, okay, so what are some of the things that these clubs do? Because I mean, when a student goes, it's a tennis club, we play tennis. I'm sure it's not just tennis. What are some of the other things that go on, in this club scene?
Okay, well, just mentioned that I'm part of the IDEA, which is a design thinking club, and for instance, we're doing this 3D printing workshop. That's one thing. There are other clubs, like for instance the consulting club. They help recruiting. They help keeping the student relationship with the major consulting firms. They help. They bring speakers to campus. That's an important part of any club. You have the regional clubs. So we have La Rima, which is the Latin America club. There is Asian, there is Chinese club, which helps trying to bring a little bit of the country's culture. So we have dinners, we have speakers from these countries, and it's a major opportunity to learn more about these other places.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that these like regional clubs, like all these from different regions, you guys all meet together. Is that it? Like you guys share cultures and share like different foods, things like that?
It's actually it's not that we get together and share those things, but it's common to have like an Indian night. So Indian night we actually just had one, and we have people prepare themselves. Actually, man, this was amazing. If I can share with you guys.
Sure. Yes, please.
There was this India night, this India weekend, and they actually formed a group, and they made a presentation with 150 people like playing in a theater that we have here, playing for over 500 people.
Wow!
And they're all just students, They just like separate a part of their day to prepare themselves to try to articulate their dances, their acting, and everything. And just because they want to be nice to the community, just because they want to add to the community, I think that's amazing.
That is actually amazing. I mean, just student run, activities like that where it drew over 500 people. Is that it? 500? Is that? I mean, did I hear that correctly? It was 500 people watching.
500 people watching. Yeah.
Wow, just to provide more value to the community and impact everyone's lives.
Man, and 150 actually acting and dancing and stuff. So
150 participants,
yeah,
actively engaging in. Wow, that's very powerful. That's a powerful scene in my mind right now. I mean, it's just it sounds like a load of fun.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, for both the people who are acting and the people who were just watching and enjoying it, I think that was just like, it made the day, I guess you can say.
Yeah. And it's very inspiring, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And you learn about the Indian culture, which is something that, we may only know something from watching a movie, but you don't really experience it up front. I mean, that's something, you don't get to see every day in Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that was amazing. That was a very, very nice story. I mean, just to imagine some events like that going on a constant basis. I mean, how do you really set aside time to study? I mean, there's so many distractions, right?
Yeah. Actually, time management is an important thing here.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll talk about that. I'm going to ask you how you manage your time. But before I do, let's talk a little bit about like a typical day in the life of an MBA student. So, the candidates today, when you apply, and I'm sure you can relate to this, you have an idea, but you have no idea, what to expect. You have like an idea, but then when you get there, it's just completely blows you away. What would be like a typical day in the life of a student?
Okay. So each day is a very different day from another because there's day that you have class, there's day that you don't have classes. But in general, you're probably going to study like from 5 to 8 hours, including class time. You're probably going to spend like 1 to 2 hours trying to recruit. So going to recruiting events or trying to check out sites, talking to companies, networking with companies. Actually, you spend a lot of time networking, not only with companies, but with other students, like going to lunches and doing things at night, but focusing on trying to develop your career. You're probably going to spend like 1 to 2 hours doing something like a sport or some leisure-focused club. One thing that we have a lot here in Kellogg is that we have a lot of events during lunch. So you're probably going to lunch at the school at some kind of event, at some speak or something. And then at night, you're probably going to ring out with friends, especially here in Kellogg that we have such a small community. It's totally common to go have dinner in some friend's house or go to a bar or something like that. So as you can see, it's a lot of studying, it's a lot of working. but there's a lot of time to do other stuff too.
Wow, nice, nice. It sounds like a very active day, because at no moment during that dissection of the day in hours did you say like, oh, we're going to separate 3 or 4 hours to sleep. How much sleep do you get, if you're doing all of this?
Oh man, honestly, I get more sleep here than back when I was working.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
At least you're much less stressed, right? Even though you're doing all those things, everything's like, it's fun, everything is engaging, everything is interesting. So you're much less stressed out than you are when you're working, Right. So you actually sleep a lot better.
Okay, so the quality of sleep improves.
Quality of sleep is so much better.
Wow, that's interesting. I never thought of it like that. Well, what about the teachers? What are they like? I mean, we're talking about classes. I mean, how about the teachers?
Yeah, the teachers are. I think in every school you have some great teachers, some amazing teachers, and regular ones, right?
Uh-huh.
And here in Kellogg, and I think in other business school too, we have a bidding system in which you have an amount of points that you have to bid to get each class. So a very good class taught by a very good professor is gonna take a lot of bid points, and it's actually sometimes it's worth it to take the reference, to listen, to have a class from a professor that is referencing negotiations, for instance.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. And that would be like a course that you really, really want to prioritize for your future goals or something.
That's it, yeah. But you really have to choose, it's not possible to have all the good professors or all the good classes. You have to choose. And that's why it's so important for you to know what you want to accomplish before coming. Because that will help you a lot prioritize classes and prioritize experiences.
Well, and you just helped us a lot with that golden nugget, man. Listeners, I mean, candidates, look, understand exactly what you want in order to be able to prioritize exactly the right courses and professors that you want to bid on. I mean, it's not just I'm going to show up and I'm going to try to consume everything possible. That's not possible, I guess, is what Eduardo is saying. I mean, you have to choose, you have to decide, and you can only do that if you do some soul searching and understand exactly what you're looking for.
Exactly that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's the golden nugget right there, you guys. I mean, in this podcast, I mean, that was just wow. Great. Thank you for that great information. Now, let's go back and let's talk about that managing your time now. How do you manage your time? Now, we're going to talk about a little bit about the application process, but also during the course. How do you manage your time between the entire application process, work, social life, getting married, and then also with campus activities and clubs, events, and study groups? What was your main challenge, in order to figure out how to manage your time? I mean, how did you do it?
I think it's nice to separate before how you manage your time before coming and when you are at business school. Because before coming, you are actually the only one that have that kind of time investment in your group, right? In the people that is around you. So the only one that is probably applying for an MBA at that moment is you. So we actually have to be very open and trying to tell people that, yes, you're focusing on that. You might not be able to go to a social event. You might have to leave your work a little bit earlier. So that's why it's so important to be open to everybody about your plans, about what you're trying to do. Once you're here, everybody has exactly the same lifestyle. Everybody has exactly the same problems, right? So it's actually much easier to be flexible. So it's actually common to you schedule a meeting and then somebody just call you, man, I'm sorry, I can't come because I have this midterm, or something else just showed up, So
people
once
are
you're
more
here,
understanding then, huh?
Yeah. Once you're here, I think it's much easier. Even though you have much more things going on, different things going on, and as we said, it's important to prioritize. People understand that you're prioritizing, So sometimes you can do something, they'll totally understand. And before coming, sometimes that's not that easy, right?
Right. Yeah, not everyone can kind of understand or comprehend or even, accept the fact that you have placed, almost your entire social life and sacrificed it to, apply and study for the MBA when they're not doing the same thing. When they're not in the same journey, it's tough because you're actually walking a very lonely road there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a very long road. But one important thing too about time management, I think, and going back to my first theme, is how you manage your wife or spouse.
Yeah. How do you manage your wife or your spouse or your husband, right? In some cases. Yeah.
Because especially when they are not studying too, and especially in the beginning, they don't have that many things to do,
Right.
That's so true. Trying to keep them engaged with your experience is very important. Trying to take her to your things, trying to explain why you're not able to go to a dinner, why you're not able to, just spend time with her or with the other. And it's very important. So I think the most important thing is to be open to everybody about what is their experience and what you're trying to accomplish.
Wow, that's great. That's great information, great advice. And that's true too. I mean, a lot of times in a relationship, this MBA process can test a relationship,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a lot of hardship. It's almost like having a child, I guess you can say. It's just like, how do you divide the time up, and then how do you make time for each other?
Yeah. And actually, that's after this year, it's clear that that's an experience that every spouse has. The first month or the first 2 months are the most difficult for them, because when a student comes, you are welcomed by the whole school. You have a lot of things going on, and the spouse, even though the school also is very welcoming of spouses, they are kind of left behind, right?
Yeah.
So the first 2 months is very difficult for them. But then after that, they just figure out what to do. They make a lot of friends, and they probably like this experience even more than the student.
Yeah, because they don't have to take finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that your wife is enjoying her time there and really engaging with the community. That's great news. It's fantastic. I'm really hoping that my wife decides to do an MBA as well, so I can just go with it. So, anyway, let's move on to the next question. Now, here's a question that I like asking. I enjoy asking this one, and it's kind of good to reflect. It's more for reflection. But if you had a time machine and you can go back to when you were applying, what would you have said to yourself? Or even during your MBA, if there was something that you could have done differently, what would you have changed? Tell us what you did,
Yeah, I would be better prepared before coming, for sure.
Better prepared in what sense? Like?
Yeah, be better prepared before coming. When I first got here, I came here to try to learn more about myself. And I actually did that,
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I could have taken more advantage from this experience, especially in the beginning, if I knew a little bit more before coming. I actually left my work like a week before coming. Wow. So I didn't really prepare myself to be here, I think that if people can leave the job like 1 month before coming, or at least like 20 days, and try to have a time for themselves, like trying to figure out why they're doing that, they're coming to the MBA, and I think that's a very well invested time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you really touched base on an issue that a lot of students ask me, which is, should I, go to this, should I go to the US? Should I go to my schools, 1 or 2 weeks before, or 1 or 2 months before? What is your opinion? And I always tell them the same thing. Hey, try to get there at least 1 month before. That way you can enjoy, your time there, set everything up that you need to set up, and also get to know the territory, understand where the cool places are, check out some restaurants, talk to people from different clubs, and really, it'll help you filter out all of the distractions and help you focus on the things that you need to engage most. And I think that's fantastic that you said that, to be able to look back and say, man, I wish I was better prepared because, I would have been able to enjoy this even more than I am enjoying now. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, for sure. I think that coming a little bit earlier for the school is a very wise decision.
Yeah. Well, Eduardo, you have given us some amazing information, and, I personally know that I would like to sit down with you in the future and have another interview with you and talk even more about, this MBA experience and how it's changed your life, and if possible, that would be great. Now, we at the MBA Wire, we would like to thank you for making your time so available to us, and during your, school activities. And we appreciate your words of wisdom. Now, take this final moment and go ahead and give a shout out to anyone you'd like at Kellogg. And, you can just shout out to either, your friends, your wife. I mean, it's up to you. Just call them out and say whatever you want to say is thanking them and giving them credits. And also, let our listeners know how they can reach you should they, be interested in further information.
Yeah, for sure. Man, my wife was the most important person for me coming here. It was a major support. I totally thanked her. My family was amazing too. I think I got a lot of support from them. And actually, my last employer was very supportive too. And I also thank them a lot. Well, I would be very glad to answer any other questions that anybody might have. Very open to that. They can reach me through email. I don't know if you can get them my email on the page if I should say it.
Yeah, you can you can go ahead and if you'd like to say your personal email, or you can even just put a Facebook link on the website. That's fine. It's up to you.
Yeah. I think I'll just post my Facebook or my LinkedIn link on your website.
Okay.
And but people, please feel free, and I'll be very happy to talk to anybody that wants.
No, great, man. Okay, so listeners, just like Eduardo said, I will post his Facebook and LinkedIn information on the show notes, as well with other information that I found very interesting in this interview onto that show notes. Once again, just Eduardo, thank you so much for your time. Everyone at the MBA Wire appreciates you. I really hope that we will be talking again soon with regarding this experience, this wonderful experience you've been having, and we'll catch you next time.
Great, Mateo, and congratulations on this initiative. I think it's awesome that prospective students can have the opportunity to listen and learn a little bit more and try to calm down before coming. I think that's awesome. Congratulations.
Awesome. No, thank you so much. Thank you. This would not have happened without, all of you interviewers and as well as the candidates. So I'm doing this for you guys. Thanks, Eduardo.
Thanks for tuning into the MBA Wire. Would you like to know more? Visit us online at thembawire.com today and leave your questions and feedback. While you're there, sign up for an exclusive free audio series to help you strengthen your MBA interview. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the MBA Wire.